Hello, retro gamers, and welcome back to a new episode of What's New on Batocera. Today, we're going to talk about something that many of you have been waiting for, the return of Sega Hikaru in Batocera. After being unavailable for a while, Hikaru is now usable again thanks to recent updates to Demul running through Proton. The Sega Hikaru is an arcade system developed in 1998, designed as a successor to Sega Naomi and Sega Model 3. It allows you to play titles such as Sega Star Wars Racer, Planet Harriers, and Air Tricks, now accessible again directly from Batocera. In this video, I'll show you how to configure your Batocera setup to take advantage of this system. More importantly, the return of the Demul emulator also gives you access to additional arcade titles, including games from the Gaelco system and Cave 3rd Generation, also known as CV1000. All right, let's get started. All right, now let's talk about Sega Hikaru itself and take a closer look at what this system has to offer. This arcade platform gives you access to a selection of games that really showcase its hardware capabilities. You'll be able to play arcade titles such as Air Tricks, Brave Firefighters, Cyber Troopers Virtual On Force, NASCAR Racing, Planet Harriers, and probably the most well-known title on the system, Star Wars Racer Arcade. At the moment, there is no upscaling available for the Demul emulator when running the Hikaru system. This means the system is emulated in its original resolution, which can look a bit rough on modern high-resolution TVs. That said, the overall experience is still very enjoyable and clearly worth trying. Hopefully, we'll continue to see this emulator evolve over time, with more features and improvements coming in future updates. All right. Now let's take a look at how to get everything up and running. First, you'll need a few BIOS files. Make sure you have hikaru.zip and mea.zip and place both files into the BIOS folder of your Batocera installation. Next, copy your arcade games into the Hikaru ROMs folder. That's all you need to do on the ROM side. Nothing complicated here. The text information file included with the system will also give you some important details. For example, you need to be connected to the internet during the first launch, as Proton will initialize its initial configuration. This first startup may take a little longer than usual, so don't worry, this is completely normal. Just to clarify one last point, Demul is built for x86-based systems only, so this setup isn't meant to run on platforms like the Raspberry Pi 5. Let's just say that some fires are better handled by the right equipment, and this one is no exception. On an x86 machine, everything works exactly as intended. Now, let's move on to Gaelco arcade games and what the updated Demul emulator brings to the table. Beyond the fact that some Gaelco titles were not easily emulated using other solutions, Demul opens up new possibilities for these games in Batocera. One of the main advantages is the ability to use upscaling, allowing you to significantly improve image quality on modern displays. This can make certain games much more enjoyable to play, especially if you're not strictly aiming for a 100% original arcade experience. Just keep in mind that, like any form of upscaling, this comes at a cost. Higher internal resolutions will require more system resources, so performance will depend heavily on your hardware. When it comes to installation, the process is very simple and user-friendly. Gaelco does not require any BIOS files, which makes setup quick and straightforward. All you need to do is place your ROMs into the Gaelco ROMs folder in your Batocera installation. Once that's done, the games will be detected automatically and ready to launch. We're now reaching the final part of this video with the Cave CV1000 system. The Cave CV1000, often referred to as Cave 3rd Generation, is an arcade platform developed by the Japanese company Cave in 2004. It represents the third generation of Cave arcade hardware and was used as the technical foundation for almost all of their shoot-'em-up releases between 2004 and 2012. We're talking about it today because, with the arrival of the Demul emulator, several games that were no longer playable through MAME, mainly for licensing reasons, are now accessible again. Adding Demul back into Batocera gives you, for example, the ability to play titles like Dodonpachi Dai Fukatsu Black Label and Akai Katana once more. By integrating this emulator into Batocera, overall compatibility with the Cave CV1000 system is significantly improved. Installation is just as simple as it is for Gaelco. All you need to do is place your ROMs into the Cave third ROMs folder of your Batocera installation. That said, it's important to note that using a recent MAME ROM set for Cave games is strongly recommended. Some titles have specific requirements when running under Demul. For example, Espgaluda 2 requires a particular version of the ROM if you want to launch it correctly with this emulator. In most cases, however, a clean and up-to-date MAME set will work perfectly fine and provide a smooth experience. That brings us to the end of this video. I hope you'll enjoy testing all these additions, even if they're not entirely new systems. Seeing them accessible again in Batocera is still a great experience and definitely worth checking out. In the meantime, feel free to leave a comment, share this video as much as you like, and don't hesitate to stop by the official Batocera Discord if you want to learn more about these updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon in the next video. And as always, happy retro gaming! See you soon!